Mace is a member of the House Oversight Committee and joins us now. Congresswoman, good morning. The president should have known that this comment would have garnered some strong reaction from Republicans. What is yours?
Republicans and Democrats alike, I imagine. I don't know how you can say that you understand the border crisis without actually seeing it for yourself firsthand and visiting the border. This is a massive crisis over the last year and a half. So far this year, over 2 million people have crossed that border illegally, and it feels like we're doing nothing about it. And it's sort of like the fire department seeing smoke and then turning their back and not looking at the burning building. That's what's going on in the administration.
Former Trump advisor Stephen Miller says Democrats are in favor of unlimited immigration. Take a listen.
They support unlimited immigration into this country. They believe fundamentally, as a philosophic matter, that Americans aren't up to it. Americans can't cut it. The American middle class is no good. Its values are useless. Its history is useless. Its aspirations mean nothing to them, like the dirt that you walk on the ground.
To Stephen Miller's point, why do Democrats seem committed to destroying the middle class? I mean, they protect the elites. They give handouts to everyone, and the middle class has to pay for it. Why?
Well, even worse than that, you've seen some Democrat mayors who want to allow illegal immigrants to vote in municipal elections. And so this is a huge issue, especially when you have inflation and economic issues the way that they are today, and this border crisis. And if you look at the fentanyl crisis, and we had a drug bust a few weeks ago in South Carolina. We're not on the border, but we've got illegal fentanyl coming from the border, from the cartels into our state and killing our people. And so we've got to have Republican leadership, not just now in January. And I'm excited to see the House being taken over by Republicans who are going to be very substantive on policy, but also the importance of 2024. We cannot continue down these policies that are wrecking our economy and wrecking our communities across the country.
Congresswoman, there is this bipartisan push to get something done when it comes to immigration, led by Tom Tillis and Senator Kyrsten Sinema, and it essentially boils down to more border funding for Border Patrol in exchange for a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers. Do you think that's going anywhere?
We haven't heard a lot about it. One of the issues that I do believe we need to address is the visa situation. We have some arbitrary caps coming from certain countries. I know in my district in South Carolina, we rely on workers' visas that are seasonal for the tourist season. We don't have enough people to fill those jobs, and we have a ton of tourists, and it's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry here. There are things that we can do as long as border security is part of the discussion. I do believe that Republicans and Democrats can work together on trying to fix a crisis at the border.
Meantime, you and other Republican lawmakers are calling for non-binary energy official Sam Brinton to be fired after that person was caught stealing a suitcase from a Minnesota airport. This is part of the letter you wrote to Energy Secretary Granholm. Quote, Brinton's actions, along with your department's lack of transparency when dealing with this matter, reflect poorly on the Department of Energy, and they raise concern as to the Biden administration's priorities when appointing high-ranking officials. Congresswoman, would this person have this position if they did not satisfy woke bingo scorecard?
Right. If they were in the private sector, they would have been fired for committing a felony right away. That is the problem with federal agencies and bureaucracies here in the United States. It's almost impossible to fire people who are committing crimes like this gentleman who, I don't care what he does in his spare time or how he dresses, I don't care. But when you're committing felonies, you probably shouldn't be appointed to that position in the federal government, particularly over nuclear energy or anything of that kind of importance when you're committing these kinds of crimes.
Also, Congresswoman, the president wants to change the primary schedule. He wants your home state of South Carolina to hold the first primary instead of the first votes being cast in Iowa and New Hampshire. Why do you think he wants that? Is this going to actually take place? How does this affect Republicans? What are your thoughts overall?
South Carolina is a very important state to anyone who's running for president. On the Republican side, we're the first state in the South, and if you win South Carolina, you have about a 95% chance of winning the nomination. And you see the same kind of precedent on the Democrat side. And what this will do is showcase the issues in our state, which are national issues, but also, you know, being a southern state, being a coastal state, it was important to Biden's win when he won the presidency and won the nomination. But looking at the issues that we have, and their inflation, their economic, their environmental too. We have beautiful beaches in the coast, conservation, energy issues, clean air, clean water, those kinds of issues will be at the forefront in 24. I'm excited whether it's Republicans having South Carolina the first in the South or Democrats changing South Carolina to their very first state. The attention and the importance of South Carolina voters on the national stage will be showcased in 2024, and that's exciting regardless of your political affiliation.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, thank you so much for joining us.